I will only be putting in $300 a month for our living expenses. What? What do you mean? Someone at work said that they are able to manage living with $300 a month for their living expenses. We should be able to live with around $300 also then. What are you saying? How do you think we'd live with just $300 a month? My friend is able to live with that. Don't complain when you haven't even put a cent into this household. Since you've done whatever you want to now, I'll be doing what I want to do from now on. My husband would not even hear me out, and he started to spend his money on whatever he wants. My name is Emily. I'm a 32 years old housewife. I currently work from home. Originally, I was a housewife with a part-time job. Ever since things started to get rough, I started a side job just about a year ago. Since I started earning good money from the side job, I quit my part-time job and kept this side job. However, I do all the housework, so I'm really busy every day. I work while pressed for time and prepare dinner before my husband comes home. In between all of that, I clean, and that is how I live daily. Thankfully, it has been getting busier and busier with more work these days, and each minute is valuable. Hey, I'm home. Hey, honey. Hey, honey. I'm cooking dinner now, so please wait a little bit more for dinner. What? Dinner isn't ready yet? I come home all tired, and dinner isn't even ready? That's so disappointing. I'm so sorry. Your bath is ready, so go take a bath first. Rob and I have been married for 4 years. We met at a matchmaking party and eventually got married. I thought my husband was sincere and seemed like a nice person. But gradually, his self-centered personality became more and more apparent. First off, he never did any housework. He had lived at his parents' all his life and has never cooked, or even done laundry in his life. So he left everything to me and never did any cleaning. At first, I didn't mind because I was a housewife. I realized it would be difficult for two of us to live on just my husband's salary, so I started working part-time early on. It is hard to do all the housework on top of a part-time job. But anytime I asked my husband to lightly clean on his days off, he'd say, "It makes me tired and I don't know how to," and wouldn't bother to help me at all. I have just gave up on the whole idea of it and decided that I'll just do it all on my own. My husband complains about every single thing, even though he doesn't do it himself. I want my hamburger stacked with cheese and a sunny side up egg. You don't use soy sauce for chili tofu. You use ajipong. Can you make my shirts more sharp? Iron it better? It really pisses me off when he pick and stuff like this. If I tell him to go do it himself, he says that he's the breadwinner of the household and argues. If that's the case, why don't you go make more money like the actual breadwinner? Is what I thought. But if I said that, that would cause a huge argument, so I don't add to it. For a start, my husband doesn't seem to understand my work at home job at all. Even when I explain to him that I'm busy with work, he'd say stuff like, "You're just messing around with your computer, right? Don't be so arrogant when you don't even make that much money." And dismisses me. I manage all the household finances, so he thinks that we live just fine with only his paycheck. I see my husband return from work and lay on the couch while watching TV, and it irritates me all the time. And it's even more annoying because he thinks that I don't make that much money. I think what makes me mad the most about this is that he doesn't make that much money at all. If it was someone that makes a lot of money saying these things, even if there was something that bothered me, I'd be able to brush it off because he's making a lot of money for both of us. Well, I chose him to be my partner, so I just have to convince myself no matter what. But just right when I was constantly irritated with him, my husband made an unbelievable comment. I will only be giving $300 a week for our living expenses. What? I just couldn't believe what just came out of my husband's mouth that I almost dropped my chopsticks. What do you mean? Did they lower your pay? Did you get fired? I imagined that worst case scenario. But then my husband started telling me something outrageous. I just realized that you've been draining my money. What? That someone at work had told me that they are able to live off of $300 a month. That means that we should be able to do it also, without any problems. It was my mistake to have you manage all of my paycheck. From now on, I'll be only giving you $300 a month. I'll be using the rest of my paycheck on me. That's just it. Okay? No, there's no way that is okay. How do you think we'd live off of just $300 a month? We can't even pay our rent, and that doesn't even cover our living expenses at all. Shut up. I'm not going to be fooled anymore. You've been wasting all my money all alone. It doesn't cut it just with your pay, so that's why I work also. You only make enough for your allowance. Don't talk to me like you equal to me. My friend said that he can live with that. Don't say a word when you don't even put a penny into this household. Anyway, for all the time you've spent doing whatever you want, I will be doing as I please. My husband would not listen to a word I say. He'd buy all the clothes he wants and take out junior members of his company out to drink with him. He started spending like he had a higher earning position. I was saving my paycheck for our future, but there wasn't anything I could do. I started covering the expenses for both of us in order to learn our living expenses. I couldn't help but feel like I had to pick up more work. So I've been taking on more work orders, and that meant I couldn't get around to the housework so much, and it was a struggle every day. Oh my gosh, it's already this late. One day, I was so focused on work. By the time I noticed it was already past 6 o'clock, which means my husband was coming home soon. I knew that I had to start cooking soon, but was so tired from work that day that I just didn't feel like starting now. So I decided that I would order pizza today. Hey, I'm home. Wait, are you saying that this is our dinner tonight? My husband was clearly pointing at the pizza with an unsatisfied look. I'm sorry. I got so busy with work that I didn't have enough time to cook. What? You just sit around and do nothing. There's no way that you were too busy. Didn't I tell you? I work from home now. That job that you just played around on the computer with? I doubt that makes you any money. How many times do I have to tell you? Stop being so ignorant when you only make enough for your allowance. Are you serious? Since you only give me $300 a month, I work to support the both of us. Don't lie. My friend at work said $300 a month is more than enough. Does that even include rent? They must either live with their parents or have paid off their house because it is impossible otherwise. I don't know all the details, but there is someone that is able to do it. So make it work with that $300. I just can't believe it. That is just an insane request. I provide for you, so just do it, you bad wife. Huh? Who are you calling a bad wife? That pissed me off the most. I am not as forgiving to be quit when someone calls me a bad wife. Okay, let's do what you requested and budget with $300. I will make you see how rough it is to budget with just $300. I'm home. What's for dinner tonight? We're having Hamburg steak tonight. Oh, I see. Wait, what is this? It doesn't even taste like meat, or the food texture isn't even like it. Yeah, because it's made from tofu. Tofu? Why not meat? We can't afford that. What do you mean? I gave you enough money. That's right, so I'm doing my best to live lavishly with the budget we have. My husband looked unconvinced, but I ignored him and continued to eat. The next day, I served bean sprout stir-fry, rice, and miso soup with an egg. I even made fish cakes look like meat with sweet and sour seasoning over rice. And on another day, I served natto, rice, and just miso soup with tofu. His mood seemed to get worse daily, but I didn't let it bother me. Eventually, he came to his breaking point. Just knock it off. Are you trying to punish me by annoying me? You keep on slacking on cooking. Is it because all of my paycheck that you were using has been taken away and you're mad at me now? I am upset, but that is not the reason. That isn't it. We never could live lavishly with just your paycheck. Don't lie to me when my friends are living off $300. There's no way we can live lavishly with my paycheck. Why don't you go talk to that friend of yours once? If you really think that two adults can live off of $300 a month, you have no clue about money. It's not like you're a king of oil and has money like it's growing off a tree. Why are you so ignorant? Huh? You're the one that is ignorant. It's hard for a housewife to see the world that way I do. My husband would never believe me when I explained about our living expenses. Instead, he just abuses me. How on earth do I convince this idiot? Then something unexpected happened. A friend contacted me while I was home. Hey, isn't this Rob? I was mortified when I saw the picture she sent me. It was at a spacious bar in the city. What appeared to my husband appeared to be having a pleasant conversation with a young woman, with their arms intertwined. This friend of mine attended the matchmaking party that my husband and myself met at, so she knows my husband also. Since it was a spacious bar with dim light, my husband didn't seem to notice my friend. And my husband and that young girl left the bar while their arms were intertwined. My husband said that he was going out to grab a drink with his coworker. If he is lying to me and meeting with a young woman, this means he's cheating, right? My anger was at peak. He only gives me $300 a month and abuses me. But he is having a good time with a young woman. I have completely lost the love that was left for him at the moment. All I could think of now was to give him hell. After that, I went to a private inquiry agency to collect evidence of my husband's affair. A few weeks later, I got the results. There was more than enough photo evidence of my husband's infidelity. I showed it to my lawyer, and the lawyer said that I would be able to get a divorce and my husband would be liable. I showed the evidence and demanded a divorce to my husband right away. You've been hiding this affair from me. You are the worst. I cannot trust you any longer. Let's get divorced. My husband seemed a little agitated, but started talking back immediately. Yeah, that's right. I cheated on you because you're the bad wife. My mistress is young and cute and doesn't seem to spend money like crazy like you do. I bet I'd be happier if I broke up with you and be with her instead. Okay. This shouldn't be the problem then. I won't be asking you to split your assets, but I'd be getting compensation for this. Yeah, do whatever you wish to. As he said that, he went and signed the divorce papers. And that is how our marriage ended. Can't believe that the 4 years that we've been together ended so easily. I'm glad I broke up with him though. After our divorce, I bought a condo for myself and started my new life there. I no longer have a man that complains, so I can do all the housework as I please. Now I'm able to live stress-free and comfortably. I even thought to myself that I should have done this much sooner. I guess my ex-husband brought his mistress to that house and started living with her. I'm sure time will tell her the truth eventually. I will have my ex and the mistress pay for this. I don't care how much he complains, I will squeeze it out of him legally. About a month after our divorce, my ex started calling me like crazy. When I finally answered, he seemed to be in panic. Hello? What do you need? Hey, how were you managing our finance when we were together? What do you mean? When I told my new girlfriend the $300 for this month, we got in an argument, and she said that if that's all I'm giving her, she's leaving and just left. That really sucks. I thought that she is a terrible woman and started doing everything on my own. But it just isn't enough money at all. Of course it's not. Your rent itself is $1,200 a month. You only get paid $1,500 monthly. There is no way you can live decently living in that place. But my friend said that he can manage to live with $300 a month. See, that's what I told you to talk to your friend before. I've always told you that $300 a month doesn't cut in. But you never listened to me and just abused me, so this is all your fault. I'm sorry. Please come back, Emily. Are you insane? Don't be thinking that I just let you come back to me. I will never go back to you. You better pay my compensation. I don't have money for that. Move out of the condo and rent somewhere cheap. I don't care if you're broke or not. I will continue to demand for the compensation. I can't believe this. I kept on sending a request for him to pay me the compensation after that, but he wouldn't pay me, so I reached out to his parents. But then I found out that they didn't even know about the divorce, and they got extremely upset towards him. They paid me instead of him. They paid me in whole, and that was good. They forced my ex to move back with them under their supervision and have him paying them off every month. I'm sure he has no money to do anything but just go to work and home to his parents. And when I told his parents what went on when we were married, they apologized for spoiling him. And now they have been doing housework for them also, is what I heard last. He deserves all of this because he just did whatever he wanted up until now. I hope this knocked some sense into him. I'm doing well with my working from home and have saved up some money. One thing I can thank my ex is that I learned money saving recipes while living with him that allows me to save so much on food. Once I have more money saved up, I like to invest and grow my assets. Retire in the near future and to live comfortable is my current goal. The fact that he thought he can support 2 adults for $300 a month just seems like he was an outrageous idiot. I'm just impressed that he was able to live like that in the real world. I can't believe this lady was able to stay with him for 4 years. I feel like she was overly patient, but it is good to hear that she is living alone comfortably. I hope her dream to retire soon come true. Thank you for watching to the end. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Mary. I've been married for 5 years and I also work in an office. I met my husband John through a matching app. John is 35 years old, 5 years older than me. He originally worked for a big company, but after we first started dating, he left his job due to relationship problem at work and has since moved from job to job. I also work, so money is not a problem, but I wish he would work a little harder at this job. When we first got married, John and I lived together, just the two of us. But after my mother-in-law called us out of the blue, our life changed drastically. Dad collapsed. Come right away. John and I rushed to the designated hospital. When we got there, darling, there was my mother-in-law sobbing her eyes out. We prepared ourselves for the worst, and then the doctor came in. I need to talk to you all, so please come this way. He called us into a small room that looked like a conference room. He told us that he was going to need nursing care and that we shouldn't expect him to recover quickly. He also said, he needs nursing care, so either take care of him at home, or if you want to find a place to take care of him, we will find a facility for you. My mother-in-law is not working, so I thought he'd take care of him at home. As I thought, my mother-in-law said, I would take care of him at home. It would cost a lot of money at a facility, and I want to be with my husband. It was completely understandable that she'd want to be with him, having lived with him for so many years. Then, back to the hospital room, my mother-in-law talked to us about taking care of him at home. I would take care of him, but I think there are limits to what I can do on my own. If it's okay with you too, would you be willing to live with me at our house? I thought it would be very difficult for my mother-in-law to take care of my father-in-law by herself. My husband asked, Mary, is that okay? But I could understand how hard it could be for her, and I didn't have that much of a problem with my mother-in-law. So I said, okay, and agreed. I had no idea that it would cause such an outcome. A month later, my father-in-law was discharged from the hospital. We had already moved to my parents-in-law's house, so we went to pick up my father-in-law together. My father-in-law said, I'm really sorry. He was so apologetic that it was almost painful for me. After my father-in-law came home, things were very hectic. Since my mother-in-law was taking care of my father-in-law, she didn't have time to do housework such as cooking. I was in charge of the housework, and John took care of the garbage. Perhaps it was because our lives were so hectic, I gradually felt that everyone was getting frustrated. I thought that John didn't have such a tough job, but I wanted him also to do the household chores. John sometimes complained about why he had to take out of the garbage. I honestly thought, why don't you at least do that? But it was my mother-in-law who was the most stressed. Ever since she started taking care of my father-in-law, it was obvious that she was getting more and more frustrated every day. Hey, Mary, the bathroom was dirty. There was hair left on the floor. You need to clean it up. Hey, didn't we just have spaghetti? Don't be lazy to serve us the same meal with the same month. She started attacking me. John and my mother-in-law took advantage of me. Hey, haven't you been lazy lately? Mom is busy taking care of that, and all you do is work, right? You can't even do your housework properly. She lets you live at her house, so you should be working to pay the rent. He started saying things like that. After my mother-in-law started taking her frustrations out on me, I feel that for some reason, the distance between my mother-in-law and John seemed to have shortened. John had always been a bit of mama's boy, but I felt that the level had gone up even more. I know how hard it was to take care of my father-in-law, so I tried my best to reduce the burden on my mother-in-law by cooperating with her on weekends. Then, gradually, she became more and more reliant on me. On Saturdays and Sundays, my mother-in-law and John would go out to eat together. John and my mother-in-law went shopping together on weekends. I wondered if John's salary was enough to go out that much. I wish he would save the money for the future. But I thought that if it was for my mother-in-law's refreshment, so it was just for now. I took care of my father-in-law without saying anything in particular. My father-in-law could talk, so we could chat, laugh, and I enjoyed taking care of him. Seeing this, my mother-in-law said, "Mary, thank you for taking care of him. I'm glad you're here." She may have been able to relax a little bit, and she began to express her gratitude to me. I was happy to know that I was supporting her. After that, I continued to work and do housework on weekdays, and on weekends, I kept myself busy taking care of my father-in-law. My mother-in-law and John were almost never home on weekends. One Saturday, I was chatting with my father-in-law, and I felt him trying to say something to me. "What's wrong, father? Is something wrong? Do you want a glass of water?" I would ask him, but he would just say, "No. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help." I told him. Then my father-in-law started to talk, very reluctantly. "Lately, my wife doesn't take care of me at all," he said. I thought my mother-in-law was doing her best taking care of him, so I interpreted it as meaning that she was not taking care of him the way he wanted. I said, "She is not a professional, so it's not easy for her." "No, it's not like that. Lately, she doesn't change my diaper even once until you come home," he said sadly. He also said, "John also comes to my room. He'd give me a cold look and said, 'I hope you'll be gone soon.'" So, to sum up my father-in-law's story, my mother-in-law doesn't take care of him, and she doesn't give him food or change his diapers. She would put food in front of him and she would go into the living room laughing. Furthermore, when he asked John to change his diaper, he said, "You're not a baby, so do it yourself." He scolded him. It was hard to believe, but the fact that my father-in-law was so serious about it might mean that it was true. I intentionally took the afternoon off to come home early to verify the truth. My mother-in-law was not home. Only my father-in-law was there, on the table beside my father-in-law's bed. There was breakfast and lunch, which she must have prepared untouched. I also checked with my father-in-law and found that the diapers had never been changed. They were soiled and stuck to his skin. I felt so bad that I had doubted my father-in-law. I changed the food and the diaper and talked to my father-in-law. He said, "I think you can see. This is the truth." I apologized to my father-in-law for not believing him. "I don't want to ask you to do this, but Mary, please, would you take care of me?" He said, "Lately, they've been taking my bank card and using my money." I had no idea they were doing that. I was surprised. I have several bank accounts, but they haven't found the one with the most money in it yet. So, in order to protect it too, I would like you to take care of me. I said okay with one reply. I told my mother-in-law and John that I would take care of him on their behalf. They happily agreed. Since then, I have been taking care of my father-in-law and doing housework every day. My mother-in-law and John seemed to be happy every day. But when I left their room for a while, my mother-in-law and John would go to my father-in-law's room and make sarcastic comments to him. The other day, my father-in-law said to me, "She was asking me about the money." "Where's the money? You're worthless without money. You're making us take care of you, so give me the money." What? But don't worry, I'll take care of you, Father. I won't make you sad from now on. After saying that, my father-in-law thanked me. He cried and thanked me many times. After that, even when I was taking care of him, my mother-in-law and John would go out together. One day, when I came out of my father-in-law's room, John and my mother-in-law were standing in front of the door, glaring at me. "Hey, you! At first, I was grateful to you for taking care of him, but you started taking care of him for money, didn't you?" I couldn't understand what she just said, and I looked at her with a blank stare. "I heard you and him talking about his inheritance. Couldn't hear the details though." I had no idea what she was talking about, so I said, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." "He was telling you where the money was. He said something like, 'When I am gone,' didn't he?" Oh, that's what she was talking about. I understood, but I pretended I didn't know because I promised not to tell them. Then John said, "If you're just after money, I'm divorcing you. Get out of here right now. I don't want to be with a woman like you who is just after money." Who's just in it for the money? He thought I didn't know anything? But I said, "Oh, well, that's okay. I understand. I'm leaving. I also agree with the divorce, but I just want you to know that I'm not here for the money." I decided to leave, and my mother-in-law said, "I don't want my husband, so you can take him with you. You leave all the bank cards, okay? Well, he has money, but he can spend it." How could she say that I was after the money? John also said, "We didn't abandon Dad when he needed care and stayed with him. We're entitled to the money." What a thing to say. "I don't need the money, so I'm leaving with him. Thank you for everything you've done for me." Saying that, I took my father-in-law and left the house. We got divorced without any alimony. After that, my life with my father-in-law continued. Both of my parents have passed away. He is not my father by blood, but I enjoyed spending time with him so much that I felt like he was my real father. 1 year later, I received a call from John. "Help me!" He contacted me out of the blue. Actually, my father-in-law passed away a month ago. John and my mother-in-law did not contact me at that time either. What could he want? I thought that of course I, his son, would get the inheritance, but all I have is Deb, he said. I had known about this when I was alone with my father-in-law. He gave me a bank book containing a large sum of money and told me to use it. So I bought a flat to live with him and saved the rest. He said, "You live in a nice place, so you must have money, right? I happened to see you the other day, and you went into a very nice apartment, right? I knew Dad left you money, so you were taking care of him for money." He cursed at me. I told him, Your father had never forgiven you too for what you did to him. And for not paying alimony to me. That's right. My father-in-law was so angry at the two for not paying my alimony that he went out of his way to make a loan. That's what you inherited from him, so take good care of it. I'm a stranger to you now, so please just don't involve with me. With that, I blocked them so they can no longer contact me. Since then, the two of them had been in debt hell. They had been living comfortably, but now they were working hard to pay back the money. John, who has been moving from job to job, can't get a good paying job, so he's working multiple jobs to pay back the money. Mother-in-law had a back injury maybe due to her age, and now she needs nursing care. But of course, John is not capable of taking care of her. He leaves her diapers dirty all day long, just like he did with my father-in-law. What she did to him came back to her. I hope they are sorry for what they did. I've been alone since my father-in-law passed away, but I like to start moving on to a new life from here.
My name is Melanie. I'm a part-time worker living with my husband and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a single mother, and I met her many times before we got married. When we decided to get married, I had no qualms about moving in together with my mother-in-law. The three of us lived together happily. My mother-in-law never bullied me at all, and we shared the household chores. While I worked part-time, my mother-in-law did the household chores. I did the rest when I was at home. We often cooked together. Even in such a happy life, there were a few things that bothered me. One day, I was going out with friends. I tried to put on the necklace my husband had given me, but I couldn't find it. So I asked my mother-in-law, who was taking care of the house while I was working part-time. "Mary, have you seen my necklace? It's heart-shaped one. Tom gave it to me." "A necklace? I haven't seen it. I will look for it later," she said like that. So I thought that I left it somewhere in the house and figured it would turn up eventually. I didn't say anything more to her since then. The next day, I found my necklace under the trash can. I wondered why it was there, but would I have thrown it away by mistake along with something else? I'm so goofy that even I'm appalled by my own goofiness sometimes. At that time, I thought, I'll be careful in the future. I didn't pay much attention to it after that. After that, I continued losing things several times, but I was still convinced that it was my fault. Later, I would realize that this was not just my forgetfulness. A little while later, I began to get addicted to apply for sweepstakes. The products up for grabs were gourmet food, travel vouchers, health products, and more. The idea was to fill in the crossword and enter. It is not easy to win, but very occasionally I would win. I was looking forward to having the goods sent to my house. My mother-in-law is starting to wonder about it too. "Melanie, what is that you're doing?" she asked me. "I don't have a good chance to winning, but still, it's interesting, so why don't you try it too?" I recommended to her. "No, it's okay. I will pass. Let me know if you win something good," she said like that. I never thought that at that time, my mother-in-law was planning something like that. After a few entries, I won some health products, and I gave them to my mother-in-law as a present. She was so happy. "I hope you win some more good things like that," she said. And we'd have a nice conversation. I was relieved. that she seems to be enjoying the hobby with me. Then one day, to my surprise, a beefsteak stood up, and it was a prime one from an Astor ranking system. I had applied again and again and finally won. I was so happy. I had never had such a high quality meat before. I was really looking forward to the day it arrived. That's right. Let's surprise Tom and my mother-in-law. I waited excitedly for the meat to arrive. But a few days later, the beefsteak didn't arrive on the scheduled delivery day. I checked the delivery mail, and sure enough, it was supposed to be today. I had been home all afternoon. I had designated it for delivery during the day, so it should have arrived by now. I was working part-time in the morning, so I asked my mother-in-law who was home during that time. There should have been a package for me today, but haven't you received it? A package? I didn't receive anything. It was marked as a cancelled on the absentee ballot. Is that so? I don't know anything about that. That's what she said. I decided to call the courier to confirm. Then the man who delivered the package said, I handed over to a resident of the house, but you didn't receive it? That's strange. I will check just in case. That's what he said. What the hell is going on? Is my mother-in-law lying? My husband was at work at the time, and my mother-in-law would have been the only one in the house. Why did she say she didn't know? I will ask my mother-in-law again. I just checked with the delivery company. They said they gave it to a resident of the house. Are you sure you don't know? You keep pestering me. I told you I don't know. She said it like she was fed up with me. I couldn't help it. Okay, I will talk to Tom about it. My mother-in-law suddenly became impatient. Don't bother telling Tom. He's busy with work, and you're making him worry unnecessarily. Oh, but now this conversation is over. I didn't know why she was talking that way. I mean, it's too suspicious. You really don't know, do you? You're persistent. If you talk about this again, I will kick you out of the house. I had a hunch. So as a last resort, I decided to talk to the police. They often have a wanted list, which says, like, if you get a hint, call 911. I was impressed this is that hint they were talking about. Besides, I didn't want to be stopped again by my mother-in-law, so I called the police while my mother-in-law was away. I explained the situation, and they said there was a good chance that my mother-in-law had stolen it. I asked them to come to my house. The day after the consultation, the police arrived at our house. My mother-in-law was not at home, so I asked them to wait for a while. I'm home. There was a police car out in front of our house. I wonder what's going on. It's so scary. As soon as my mother-in-law finished her sentence, she froze on the scene. Oh, we're sorry to bother you. We're from the All Police Department. My mother-in-law's face went pale. Hey, Melanie, did you just call the police? What the hell were you thinking? She started yelling at me out of nowhere. Why are you yelling at me? I was really looking forward to this package that was supposed to come. I've just won the prize. I was going to eat it with everyone. It's embarrassing to make such a big fuss. What if the neighbors start some strange rumors about us? She was very aggressive. But I'd be scared if they were thieves. Then the police officer said, Well, we were just asking you a few questions. You don't have to get so worked up. Or is there something wrong with you? It's not like that. But what is it? There's no need to make such a big fuss over a mere piece of meat. My mother-in-law's words made the place quiet for a moment. Excuse me? What? Get the policeman to leave. How did you know that the meat was in the package? What? The policeman sighed. May I ask what's going on? Then my mother-in-law gritted her teeth and looked down. She thought she couldn't lie anymore. After a few moments of silence, I received it, my mother-in-law said. The police asked her why, and my mother-in-law began to talk in a whispered voice. I have hated Melanie for a long time. I hated her for taking my precious Tom. I couldn't hide my surprise. I had never thought that my mother-in-law hated me. I thought that my husband, my mother-in-law, and I had always lived in harmony and had always gotten along well together. I had no idea that my mother-in-law thought of me this way. She went on to say, when I found out that the beef steak was on its way, I decided to eat alone with Tom, without Melanie. It was a very expensive meat. I wanted to make Tom happy. She wanted to ostracize me. I was shocked. How could I have not realized how much she hated me? But then I remembered. I had lost a necklace my husband had given me once, and when I later found it under the trash can, I didn't lose it. My mother-in-law threw it away, and all the things I thought I had lost after that, it was all my mother-in-law, and all of them were things that Tom gave me. It all makes sense now. All those times I thought I'd lost something. Was it all your doing? The things I lost. All these things were presents that Tom gave me. Yeah, it's disgusting that Tom gave you all those presents. I was trying to think of a way to get Melanie away from Tom. I finally came up with something good. What? She has been doing that to me from the beginning. I didn't realize it at all. I guess I was the only one who thought we were getting along until now. I thought the officers might be taken aback, but they both looked at my mother-in-law with serious expression on their faces. Then one of the officers said, May I have a word? I'm just checking. You didn't steal anything else than things that belonged to your daughter-in-law, did you? I didn't do that, I'm sure. Are you sure? It's not good to hide things. Please, bear with me. I didn't take anything else than my daughter-in-law's things. I see. That's all right then. My mother-in-law turned blue because the police officer suspected her of more crimes. The other policeman, he looked at me and grinned. I see. So you punished my mother-in-law a little. So where's the meat now? Oh, I couldn't hear her voice. What? Where is it? I asked back. I ate it. It's gone. You ate it? I think it weighed about 10 pounds. I thought I was just tasting it, but it was so good I couldn't resist. Besides, It was such a delicious meat. I was so angry when I thought you were going to eat it with Tom that I ate it alone. This stunned me, and also the police officer were taken aback. I wanted to say I was going to eat it with you and Tom, 3 of us, but I got too tired to say that. I felt like I'd had enough. I told the officer that I would talk it over with my husband. I understand. You must feel burdened. I'm glad it wasn't a burglar or a thief. Then the police officer left. I need to talk to my husband first. I called him and told him what was going on. I'm sorry for my mother's wrongdoings. I'm really sorry. He apologized and came home early that day. And as soon as he got home, he said, "What's going on, Mom? What are you doing?" He immediately confronted my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was half crying. "No, listen, Tom. No, this is..." She tried to make excuses, but my husband won't even listen. What excuse are you trying to make? Do you even know what you have done? I mean, you even had the police come to the house. Guess that means you wouldn't have confessed your crime unless Melanie called the police. I calmed my husband down for once. We were now alone in the house, just the 3 of us, and silence fell. At last, the feeling of anticipation was gone, and only a gloomy feeling remained. I broke the silence. "You didn't love me at all, right?" "I loved you. And I was very happy that you treated me so well. I'm so sorry that this happened." "Mom, did you do this because you didn't like Melanie? Why? The 3 of us have been getting along so well together, haven't we?" My mother-in-law answered with a depressed look on her face. "I have raised Tom all by myself. He's my only son, my precious son, and we've lived together all our lives. After you got married, Melanie became his first priority. We could live together again, but I didn't like having Melanie around. I've harassed her a few times now, but she never even noticed. I didn't like it either. How selfish. I was too dumbfounded to say anything. I looked at my husband, who was equally disgusted as me. What are you talking about? That doesn't mean you can throw away or steal Melanie's things. Besides, you should be thankful you escaped arrest. Yes, I told my husband about the necklace earlier. Besides the necklace, that there have been several times when things my husband gave me and other things have gone missing. And also told him that after a while, those items have come out of the trash. I can't live with my mother who did this to Melanie anymore. As soon as my husband said that, my mother-in-law started crying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I've done to Melanie. I will apologize to her. So don't be like that, Tom. My husband didn't change his firm expression. I can't forgive you either. I was so shocked to learn what you truly thought and felt. I understand your feeling for Tom, but I don't think it's right to do something like that. Melanie feels like that, and we will leave this house. And Mom, you will pay for the meat. My mother-in-law broke down crying at those words. Sometime later, we found a new house to live in. We moved out. My mother-in-law said she wanted to live with us until the end, and that she didn't want to be alone, but we didn't change our mind. It was all my mother-in-law's own fault. Now I'm going to start living alone with my husband again. Melanie, I'm so sorry about what happened. I can't believe my mother would do something like that. I'm sorry I didn't realize. He apologized, and I said, You don't need to apologize, Tom. Thank you for believing in me and protecting me. I thanked him. And a few days later, my mother-in-law brought a package of beefsteak. My husband and I ate it together. It was so delicious that it melted in your mouth. I tried to give it to my mother-in-law too, but she must have learned her lesson this time. She asked me to eat it alone with Tom, so I could eat as much as I wanted without worrying about it. I don't think I will be able to eat this high-quality meat again anytime soon. I had a bad experience, but I was able to forget about it when I was eating it. My husband also enjoyed the meat and said it was delicious. I felt happy to see that. I'm sure my mother-in-law wanted to be with her beloved son all the time. I wonder if that feeling was too strong for her, so that she started to harass me. I don't know what will happen when I will have children and they will get married. I wish I could let go my children and see them off properly. That's what I thought quietly in my heart. Then my mother-in-law started to live alone. I don't know what happened to her, but she seems to have a job and to be doing well. I wonder if it was too much for her to face the pressure from the policeman and my husband. Once a year, she sends us 10 pounds of beefsteak and a letter of apology. It seems that she works hard and saves up the money to buy it. She seems to be very sorry for what she did, and since she is getting older now, my husband and I have talked about it, and we are thinking of going to see and check on her someday soon.